Hey Shackers, I've assembled some of the Shack staff here to talk about Nintendo Switch 2, which is a new Nintendo console that shipped last week. And in their infinite wisdom, Nintendo did not give anyone a review unit or early access for the purposes of a review. So instead of just writing a hastily made review in progress article for June 5th, we decided to actually take some time with the hardware and the games. Sit with it, use the controllers, feel the device in your hands before rushing out our impressions. So, this is probably the first of what I will say are a few conversations that the Shack staff will have about Nintendo Switch 2, the games that are launching on Nintendo Switch 2, like Welcome Tour, the highly anticipated Welcome Tour, as well as Mario Kart World. But yeah, let me introduce the voices and the people, the faces that we have here to chat about this, and then we'll get to talking about it. So, on my left, stage left, is our long reads editor, David Craddock.
Hello.
Hey there. We have our community manager over here, Denny.
Howdy.
We got TJ Denzer, our senior news editor down there.
Hey, hey.
And our managing editor and Shack Maps overlord, Bill Lavoie.
That's me.
It's a you. So yeah, guys, I've probably had, more Switch 2 experience than anyone here before last week. But now the playing field has been leveled. Everyone has had this thing since launch day, basically. And I'm curious. I'll start. David, what do you think? Just of the device itself. What do you think of the Switch 2?
I got to say, I'm really impressed with it so far. I think in one of our conversations, Asif, I compared it to a computer upgrade, and I stand by that in the best possible way. I've also been going through just for my own enjoyment and loading up a bunch of Switch 1 games that had kind of so-so to adequate performance on the original system. And Animal Crossing New Horizons is a big one. There were times my island is heavily decorated when it would dip below 30 frames a second. Then I'm talking like 15 to 20
Yeah,
sometimes.
it was dipping below 20 frames per second on your island.
Yeah, and this one it is at a steady or close enough 60 frames per second. There is still popping, but it's instantaneous and it doesn't happen all the time. Um, so I'm really impressed with the hardware. We'll talk more about this later, I assume, but I also played through Welcome Tour for review,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually gave me more of an appreciation, even more of an appreciation for the hardware and what it does and how it does it.
Well, I mean, it's a piece of software made by the hardware lead on the project.
Exactly.
So it's like
Exactly.
it's him touting a lot of the tech that they put into it, and I think inside of Nintendo there are two factions forming. One led by Seth Rollins. No, sorry. What's actually happening here though is like there are people at Nintendo who were like, "Hey, Switch hardware sucks." Like it was obsolete when they shipped it in 2017. But
Right.
that was a different Nintendo. Like that was a Nintendo with their back up against the wall where they had to, make some cuts here and there to make sure that they survived. This is a different Nintendo now. And I think that a lot of Nintendo consoles are born out of this need from the development side. We need this to do this, right? We need an analog joystick on the N64 so that we can make Mario 64, right? Or we need the GameCube controller for Monkey Ball. We need two analog joysticks, or offset analogs or a radiating A button. Like there's all these design decisions informed by software. And I feel like that's the case with Switch 2, is that by the end of the Switch life cycle, like Echoes of Wisdom last year, it had performance issues. But it wasn't the game's fault, it was the hardware. It was old. And I guarantee that like Mario Kart World, they said it in their as a developer, they were working on that for 8 years, and they were like, we can't ship this. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
And that's gotta be a really weird feeling where you're working on a game for like almost a decade and you can't ship it because your system sucks. Like that's why everyone's like, oh, this is so iterative. This is blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Nintendo has famously screwed this up in the past with
Yeah.
the Wii U, which was a horrible name, but also very confusing messaging. The 3DS, lesser extent, but still a gimmick thrown onto the DS, right? Like, they weren't. And I think the DS is a great platform. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. But like this time, instead of putting like something on the screen that makes it 3D that only is supported by 3 games, like the innovations they brought to Switch 2 are very much performance based. It's like, we want to be able to run 4K 60 docked. Okay, that's a spec that you had to hit. We want to do 1080p in the handheld. That's another spec. Because handheld resolutions on Switch were pretty terrible. Like below 720p a lot of the time. So I think that there's like, to your point about Welcome Tour, like so much of the Switch 2 design, it really feels was informed by the developers being frustrated with the crappy hardware that they were working on. So it's like, they finally went through a checklist of, okay, we want HDR, we want 4K 60, we want DLSS support, you know, we want faster hardware, right? The actual memory on the hardware is faster. So that leads to faster load times. That's something I noticed in Animal Crossing instantly, David. The load times are materially better. Same thing in Tears of the Kingdom when you're fast traveling, or Breath of the Wild when you're fast traveling, or even in Kart World. The load times are not bad in Mario Kart World at all. And so much of the Switch experience was sitting there staring at a load screen. So in this era where, you know, PlayStation has gone SSD and M2, and Microsoft and Xbox are going SSD, it feels like Nintendo did step their game up when it comes to the speed of data on the device itself, also the cartridges, also the memory card. So like, that's not a sexy thing. You don't make a Nintendo overview trailer about what I just said, but it instantly is felt in every single experience and game that you're using. Even the snappiness of the menu, the home menu, the eShop.
The eShop, yeah.
All of these things are like, they load better because there's better hardware in this thing, and there's more RAM for people to use if you're making a game. But yeah, like, I just think, like, we're watching Nintendo turn into Apple. And to a lesser extent, we're watching them turn into Disney. But, like, Nintendo always was... they always admired Apple from afar. Either Yamauchi or Iwata or Miyamoto. They've always looked at Apple as, like, that's who we want to be like. Right? Where they create a moat, they have a brand, but they're also known for hardware excellence at Apple. At least they were. The Switch 2 is super polished. Like, every aspect of the hardware is better than the original Switch. The Joy-Con connection, right? Like, that's better on the Switch 2. We already talked about, like, the screen on the device and all the various software support. But, like, they nailed it so hard with the Switch that they've disrupted the entire industry. Everyone's making a handheld now. Or paying someone else to make it in the case of Microsoft, right? You have Steam Deck. You have... Sony has their... what's that called? The Portal?
Yeah.
But, like, that's not really a... that's more like a Wii U gamepad, honestly. And then, you know, obviously Microsoft partnering with the ROG Ally, ROG making their own Ally. It's like they disrupted the industry so much that they don't have to be like, well, let's come up with a different thing. You know, it's like, no, Nintendo, you make Switches now. You might make Switch for the foreseeable future. Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I think it's interesting because as someone who does primarily PC gaming, this whole idea that there would be critique over them not like coming up with something more innovative than the Switch 2, like less iterative, is wild. Because PC gamers want better this all times. You're like, hey, I've got this new thing. We're not interested in that new thing. We want a better SSD. We want better RAM. We want a better video card. We want a better processor. Like it's wild to me because the Switch was Nintendo's most successful console ever, correct?
Not
Why would you
officially
then
yet. It's the best
okay,
home
Oh, not yet.
console. The
but
best
why would
selling
you
console
turn
was the DS.
around and take a risk? Like this is going to sound silly, but I look at this and I'm like, "Hey, guess what, Nintendo? Congratulations on not being Bungie." Because Bungie made Destiny 2. Like you caught lightning in a bottle and then you thought, "Let's just do it again with this game." No. No, that doesn't happen twice. It doesn't happen twice. You take the thing that was mind-boggling successful and you make it better. And as a PC gamer, you like if you're looking at it like as a Switch player, I know David, you're a PC gamer, and I think that's why you don't have critique about it being iterative, is that you're like, hey, the cool thing is just better.
That's what I
Great.
wanted. There was never a problem with the form factor of the Switch. They just needed better hardware, right? Like
Yeah.
that's when I call it a computer upgrade. Like it's a better Switch.
But it also
That's
feels
perfect.
like some of these things were scope limitations back in 2017, David. Like they probably
Mhm.
thought of game chat back then. They also, I know for a fact that the magnet connector was in development back in 2017. It's just they weren't able to put it in there. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the things where I'm like, I guarantee they were just left off of the original Switch due to scope limitations. But then there's like, okay, they made the Joy-Con bigger, right? Like that's something that was feedback from people that they heard. Like these are too small. It doesn't feel like a Fisher Price device anymore. Like it feels. It sounds crazy. It feels like an Apple product. It's sleek. It's nice to hold in your hand. It doesn't have these weird edges. They figured out how to make a kickstand for it that isn't trash. Like I just feel like they spent enough time listening to feedback and from their internal feedback, but also external feedback, and they addressed a lot of it. So yeah, from like a hardware and industrial design standpoint, this might be the best made Nintendo hardware ever. Like the materials used in it, the quality of the screens, even the buttons feel better. Like the button travel feels better. Like
The rotation on the sticks is so smooth.
mm-hmm.
It feels so much better. It never felt bad on Switch, but I never had anything else to compare it to as far as Nintendo products other than maybe a Pro Controller,
Mm-hmm.
which I considered a different thing. But man, even on the Pro Controller 2 as well, if you want to call it that, it feels good too.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
and it comes down
Yeah.
to the finish, right? Like this product is just smoother than
Yeah.
the grip on the original Switch Pro controller. And
Even the so I've been playing games on PS5 recently, you know, like just like, yeah, I'm gonna go sit in the couch, I'm gonna fire something up for an hour. And I've been going through the PS5 DualSense controllers. I've got two that I bought with the system, and the analog sticks, no matter how much I play with them, no matter how much I play with this in-game settings, like I can't get anything smooth, right? Like it's very choppy and it's very difficult to be precise. And I even have a professional controller that I got from I can't remember is it Victrix?
Victrix, yeah, the
Yeah.
the BFG
But
or
even that, like it's better, but it's when I use the Pro Controller 2, as we'll say here, I noticed it instantly. I was like, oh, these are just smoother, like right out of the gate. Like the analog sticks are far smoother, they're far more precise. Um, Maybe some of that's a new controller, but like some of my controllers are not heavily used. They shouldn't be suffering from any kind of like overusage or anything like that. So, um, I really love the Pro controller. I didn't think much of the first one. The second one I like a lot. My only complaint about it is that it's a little smaller than I would like, but I mean, for the most part, it's pretty good.
it's lighter. It's slightly lighter than the previous iteration of the device. I think
I haven't done that, checked them out, but like I
It
believe
is.
you 100%. Yeah.
I think and honestly, that's a good thing. It's going to lead to people, I'm not saying people get tired holding a controller, but like it adds up when you're playing 500 hours of Tears of the Kingdom,
The Switch 2 is heavy though. That I
The
don't
device
like.
is heavy and
Yeah.
big. Like
and big.
Gone are the
it's
days
very
of being able to
similar.
fit a Nintendo device in your pocket.
It's
Yeah.
similar to not the form factor. Like I know that the actual way you grip it is much different, and the tech is much different, and the buttons are different. But when I picked it up, it did remind me of my Steam Deck.
In the width,
Like
absolutely.
yeah, it did. It mostly just like in size, like in the actual dimensions of it. But
Yeah, it's just not as
Yeah.
chunky. The
No.
grip on a Steam Deck is so chunky compared to it that it's
Yes.
still, the Switch still feels very thin. The Switch 2
Yeah.
does, and I think that's the main difference in the industrial design that I find impressive, is they're able to fit all of this performance in that.
Yep.
Like I'm sure they're using every single inch that they have in that device when it comes to battery or cooling or whatever. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I can tell you that they are using every inch, Joseph, because I have completed Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. And I have seen the innards of the Switch 2. I have run around in them, Joseph.
I mean, I watched the jerry rig video and I saw the iFixit breakdown as well, and yeah, they're using like the other thing going on is how many of you have been playing in handheld?
Yeah,
Probably works.
half and half probably.
It gets hot.
Yeah.
This thing gets warm when you're using it. The back of it gets pretty warm.
Yeah.
I mainly play dock now, so it's not as big of a deal. But like you can tell, this thing is pushing the processor pretty hard. And I think I haven't seen any evidence of this yet, but like some of the performance stats are really impressive given the underlying chip architecture. And I wonder if it's overclocked when it's docked. And that's why it has that giant ass fan on the dock itself. But someone will figure that out who's smarter than me. But I do wonder, like, is this... Because there were people that, people jailbroke the previous Switch, and you could overclock that one, and you get worse battery life, but it actually did perform better when it was overclocked. So I'm curious, what kind of NVIDIA magic is going on behind the scenes, right? Like, we know it's DLSS supported. So we know that AI super sampling is being used for a lot of this stuff, which is why something like Mario Kart World, even though we're playing it in 4K, is still like only 25 gigs to download, which is still, it's like, that's massive for a Nintendo game, but in present day gaming, that's not that big of a file, or a footprint compared to like a COD or Doom, right? Depending on what platform you're playing Doom on. So I think that's kind of interesting, is that there's still some Nintendo and NVIDIA magic going on here when it comes to what they're doing with their art and their assets and how they're scaling them. So I do think that's like one of those things that's really cool about it. But yeah, from like a graphic design standpoint, they couldn't ship another Mario game that wasn't in 4K after they showed us that movie. It was going to look like crap compared to the movie. So it's like, here we are. We're going to get a 4K Mario 3D game at some point, right? And even in Kart, every single character model in Kart is like brand new, right? So they finally are in the 4K era, and it's happening at a time where like we're not going to 8K gaming. None of these companies can afford the move to 8K gaming, right? They're already struggling to develop games in 4K financially, right? Like this, I think we're going to be at 4K for a while now.
We're not even really at 4K. We're pretending we're at 4K. We're like dabbling in 4K. We make some concessions to hit 4K, but like we're not at a place yet where the majority of games that come out, and I'm not talking specifically about Switch, I'm talking like across in general are 4K. Like the amount of like I mean I know that we can play some 4K games on PlayStation. We can now do on Switch 2 and whatnot, but we're not there. Like we're just not there. So 8K to me is wild. If anyone's predicting 8K in the next couple of years, I'm like, what are you doing?
Does anyone remember the original PS5 reveal where they mentioned it was going to support 8K gaming? It was on the box, I think, even at launch.
Oh my god.
and then radio silence for the past few years about that. Because, like, everyone is just now getting a 4K TV, right? They're finally affordable. Like, I think you can get one at Meyer, David, for like $300. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
it's actually difficult not to get a 4K TV now.
Yeah,
That's
it's hard to
the thing
find
that
a
will
1080p.
transition.
Yeah.
Right. That's the moment we needed to get 4K over the hump, was that it's like, if you go and just try to buy a new TV somewhere, it's more often than not you're going to see 4K.
I feel like it was twofold, Bill. It was like we needed the content to show up, like we needed people to start filming in 4K, or like I can't remember when it was, but when sports started getting broadcasted in 4K, like that was a huge moment. Like 4K hockey, 4K basketball, 4K football, that was a huge moment. But like we're finally there now, where most people who have a television or some sort of streaming device have a 4K display, and Nintendo's like finally there. But it's like, it's right on time according to Nintendo's timeline. You know what I mean? Like they're like,
I agree though. I think it's right on time too. Like, I understand that other consoles and other makers have been talking about 4K, but like I said, man, there's a lot of concessions that they're making. Like, you're technically hitting 4K, but they're faking it, man. It's not. We're not seeing this like real true 4K stuff that you would get on like a high-end PC with all the fixins. Like, and they're not all faking it, of course, but there's a lot of them that are taking some liberties to get there. And Nintendo is arriving at a time when you can get 4K video on your phone, and everyone can buy a 4K TV if they just buy a television. They don't even have to go out and look for it or spend more to get it. It's just, that's what it is now. I think they're arriving at a time when it makes a lot of sense, and I know that that's probably an opinion that people won't share. Like, they'll think, we've been doing 4K for years, but I don't know. I feel like we're finally making it normal. It's finally being normalized.
Like, for me, the thing that I'm noticing that I'm like, okay, I really appreciate this across the Switch 2 right now, the experience. 60 FPS is so much more important to me than the resolution. Like, when it comes to a fighting game like Street Fighter 6, or when it comes to a racing game like Mario Kart World, consistent 60 frames per second, that's the biggest upgrade on this thing. Like, honestly, it is. It's made some games. It's made some games frustrating to play.
If you asked me, if I was looking at a game and you were to tell me what this resolution is, I could probably tell you if it was less than 2K. But there comes a point when I would be like, I don't know, it's probably 2K. It could be more than 2K.
It's hard for the human eye to discern.
But if you were to say, what FPS is that? And it's under 40, I'll tell you every single time.
Boy, do I have a mini game for you, Bill. Right, David? How fast was that? How many frames per second was that baseball going, David? Please understand.
The answer was pretty much always 120.
One time it was 60.
One time it's 60.
The one where it was 60 versus 120 was pretty hard. There's literally a mini game, Bill, in Welcome Tour that's just a baseball. It's an animated baseball going back and forth, and you have to guess the frame rate.
Now I kind of want to try that, but I don't want to buy it, which is another point. You shouldn't have to buy it.
Yeah.
But I want to try that because I'm somebody who, if I go sit and play my PlayStation and I get something at 30, like, I have to stop. Like, it's like, oh wow, like it's really jarring for me because
you're always performance mode when given the option.
Yeah, I am. And I've got like, I'm not crazy about frames. I don't need 90. I don't need 120. I've got it locked at just a steady every second of the day 60 on my actual hardware, not in my games. So I'm always just getting 60, and I don't even care if I can get more. It's just like, just give me 60. I'm happy.
I will say, the Switch 2 does support 120 hertz output at both 720p in handheld and 1080p in docked mode. And I got to play Metroid Prime 4 using a mouse in 120 hertz. It's outstanding. Like, I for an FPS or like a game like Rocket League, those increased frames are appreciated. And I think even in fighting games, like, that would be an appreciated thing if it's like done right. But yeah, I think it's just funny, man. Like, when was the last time we talked about performance in a positive way about a Nintendo hardware system? Like, GameCube?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like 22 years ago, I think, maybe?
Yeah.
Or
I just
24 years ago?
I just looked it up, and the sources that I see are saying that there's a lot of discussion, but the consensus seems to be the human eye can see somewhere between 30 and 60 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would like to argue they can see much more than that, but like most people, most experts tend to say 30 to 60. So like 120 is great, and you might be able to tell, maybe, but I think the big thing is getting it to 60. That's the hump, right?
But the point about the human eye discerning it, that's why Digital Foundry had to like create their own software to measure frame rates.
Right.
Because they couldn't tell. Like they had
Right.
to actually create the software that does the overlay on the video and stuff for them. And
Yeah.
it's like they've done great work as a result. But like, yeah, you're right. The human eye can't tell. And like, I kind of want to, we're going to get to this later, but like, I think this whole launch week has highlighted something about Nintendo in 2025 at least. There's an audience of people who just love Nintendo. And they're going to buy the Nintendo system. And they're going to buy cart. And they're going to do it every generation. Right? And there's this new generation that either were introduced through the Mario movie. Or through Animal Crossing. Or Splatoon. Or wherever. And they're now Nintendo loyalists. And none of them are on Twitter. And none of them are commenting on our YouTube videos. None of them actually pay attention to any games media. They just know that this is their system that they like, or if you're a parent, that this is the safe system for my kids. And I think there's a couple of things that Nintendo finally did. It's like Nintendo finally did this. It's like they finally made a powerful console and go 4K 60 FPS. But they finally gave us continuity of purchases. For the first time ever. Like cross generation. That's a huge deal, David. Like,
oh yeah,
it's a huge value that all of our games work pretty much on this new system with backwards compatibility, and in most cases they run better than they've ever run before. So it's like, if you didn't beat Tears of the Kingdom, now is the time. My God, has there never been a better time to play Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild? Like,
I've got it docked downstairs. PlayStation 5's unplugged because I'm running out of HDMI ports. Although I will switch the HDMI cable from the back of the Switch to the PS5. I want to play it, but for now, it's ready to go. Upgrade installed. Tears of the Kingdom. Because what's the one thing that I've been saying forever about Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild? Like just in private conversations
put it on
with you,
PC
Austin,
and I'll play it.
and every time I go, I know exactly why they don't put it on PC. I know they're not going to. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just begging for it because I literally want to play this with like the highest fidelity possible. Like, look at the world they created. I can only imagine if they took all the harnesses off, right? But in a sense, they at least took some of the harnesses off with this edition. And yeah, this is like when I'll finally get through. And I deleted my Tears of the Kingdom save. I don't jump in halfway. I'm going back, and I'm going to do it right from the start because I thought that game was delightful, but I need that like really next level experience that I just wasn't going to get on a Switch, like in an OG Switch.
It's funny how the Zelda franchise bookended the Switch, right? So you had Breath of the Wild at the beginning, Tears about 2 years before the end, but like a year and a half. And in both cases, the Breath of the Wild build pushed the Wii U to, it was the most taxing software ever released on the Wii U, right? And it still kind of struggled on the Switch at launch, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. And then at the end of the Switch, you have Tears of the Kingdom. It kind of struggled on the Switch at times. It wasn't too bad. But now it's like Switch 2, this thing runs amazing on it. I have seen a lot of people jumping into Tears specifically. People who, when it came out, they said, I'm going to wait because I'd rather play this on Switch 2. Seeing a lot of people flowing in that way. So I think it's those two things I think are really unique moments for Nintendo where you have the continuity of purchases, but you also have all of your games are running better, which I think is like a huge value. It's only a one-time benefit, right? You're not going to get this benefit again next generation. You'll keep the continuity of purchases, and that will keep your platform stickier, right? They're creating an iTunes like Halo with the eShop now, and if they can do this for multiple generations, I think it'll be great. But at the very least, they took their most successful home console, and they extended the life of its users, arguably infinitely. We'll see where eShop is 10, 20 years from now. But I think that's like a huge deal that may, like, gamers or people in the gamer discourse may not be paying attention to that. But I can tell you, my friends who are parents, when they heard that, they were like, I'm instantly buying this. And that's an economic decision that, like, actual people who are buying these things are making. And I think it's just brilliant. I really, it's such a simple concept, but they've implemented it really well so far. And yeah, it's funny. I saw, like, Dave Oshry was tweeting. He's like, I think Dusk might be running at 120 FPS without us even doing an update. I was like, that's kind of cool. Then, like, you have indie devs that are just getting better performance on their games without actually doing anything.
I have seen
that's the thing.
I have seen the opposite too from a dev. Not the opposite. That's not the right way to characterize it. But they were seeing feedback online about, like, oh, like, the graphics don't look any better, and they were pointing out, like, they're not gonna unless actual human beings do work to improve that build and then release it. The only things you're going to see is, yes, you might see more frames and you might see better load times and things like that, but that's it. That's what you're going to see if we haven't done the work behind there to actually improve what's being sent out. And but it was interesting to me to see, like, how I don't want to say uninformed, but I don't have a better term, so I'll just go with it. But, like, the average gamer is uninformed. Like, they just think that there's magic here, right? You install the same game from your original Switch on the Switch 2, and then you're like, the graphics aren't any better. And it's like, yep.
Yeah, you have to implement DLSS. It's not just like, it's not just this magic, like, fairy godmother that just sprinkles fairy dust on your game and it's 4K all of a sudden. That's not how this works. But
no.
It's a lot, from my understanding, it's easier to do that than to put all those 4K assets in your game. You know what I mean? It's like, it saves time on that front, but it is still, for an indie studio, it's still an investment they have to make of time and development time, and then publishing that build and getting it approved and stuff. And from my understanding, no indie devs had dev kits, really. Like, I maybe Deltarune, but, like, Toby Fox might have had one, but, like, I don't know. It didn't seem like many indies had dev kit access before this, so maybe they're able to get it now.
There were.
Mm-hmm.
There were.
Yeah.
But I don't know what extent that is, so.
Yeah. It is interesting. I just think that one-time benefit's super valuable. And kind of going back to what I was saying about how Breath of the Wild was that straddle game, David, like, between the Wii U and the Switch. And I know there are only 13 million Switch or Wii U owners. But, you know, we wanted a Breath of the Wild game. Kart World feels like that game, where it's definitely a last-gen game. It's like a very well-made last-gen game that was brought over to this new hardware because of network limitations, hardware limitations, you know, graphical limitations. But I really think it boils down to networking. That's the third thing. Nintendo may have learned how to internet, you guys.
This was
Say
the
that I did
smoothest
get some
launch. Go ahead.
time with it. Yeah, I got some time with Street Fighter, and it was definitely way smoother an experience than any of my other online fighting game attempts.
Yeah.
On Switch 1.
Yeah, like,
that is for sure.
It's by far the best online experience Nintendo has ever shipped. And I'm going to give credit to those F-Zero 99 devs, man, because that was the best Nintendo Online game ever shipped back in 2023 on the Switch. So they proved that, like, look, we can do it with this garbage hardware. What if you actually gave us something good? and now you have Knockout Tour in Mario Kart World. And tell me that is not F-Zero 99 inspired. Please explain to me how Knockout Tour is not exactly an F-Zero 99 inspired race. Because it is. I'm sorry, it is. But like, I just them finally understanding the internet being important. If they could get Smash right, that would be hugely transformative for that as an esport, as a game that people play. It would be big, and I think just having Street Fighter back on a Nintendo hardware device is important, man. Like, it's
and like a good Street Fighter 2 on the device that's still thriving.
Yeah.
It goes a long way, and I mean it feels good.
It's like
especially
SF2
playing.
on SNES days. You know, like we're finally back where you have a powerful Nintendo console and a good Street Fighter game at the same damn time in the same place, and it has crossplay.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of them can keep up enough for actual crossplay and stuff like that. You know, I got to test that too, and everything was smooth with the CFN. So
Yeah, TJ beat someone who was platinum ranked with a Nintendo Switch, and then we'll forever shame them for eternity.
And granted, like I hadn't played Street Fighter 6 for probably a couple months before that. I jumped into Switch 2 just and shook off the rust a little bit in combo trials just to see if I could first do the combo trials on the characters I made. First off, I could, although I will say Joy-Cons are still pretty not good for fighting games. But once I had the motions down and got a feel for like the D-pad and the stick and the buttons, I went into ranked mode, or I did a full arcade run, and then I went into ranked mode, and I took a challenge from somebody, and I beat the guy with a level 3 combo for a perfect. And so, like, to be able to take maybe an hour and a half of practice after, like, 3 months of rest, and take it right into online and do that kind of thing to somebody, it's a viable, like, I was shocked. That system is very, very viable for whatever we want to play.
I don't know if we're gonna see esports tournaments running off of it, but especially with Evo being owned by Sony now, I doubt that'll be the case at any of their events. But it'll be interesting to see, like, will Jabali adopt Switch 2 at all at any of his tournaments? Like, where?
you know, we did to get some time with Soul Calibur and stuff like that too. So
Yeah.
you know, if there's got some side turning action going on.
That's a good point. On the lab, David, TJ, Denny, and I, we were all playing Soul Calibur 2 online. TJ was able to back out of being player 1 or player 2, so he could just spectate, and like we were all just jumping in and beating the crap out of each other. Denny kicked me off of the level, like that scene in 300. But yeah, it was really damn fun. I have heard, look, yeah, I am the patron saint of F-Zero Twitter at Shacknews. I heard F-Zero GX has input lag problems right now. So it's not the best of the GameCube ports, which is unfortunate. But I hope we get a patch to some of these things soon. Like, I'm eagerly anticipating a Mario Kart World patch, because you know there's something, not just the day one stuff, but like there's some things that they're watching right now that I'm sure they're gonna want to fix. And this is obviously gonna be a live service game for them. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else about the Switch hardware specifically you guys want to hit on before? Like, I think we should talk kart a little bit before we go.
I'm gonna drop out, but I feel like I've said what I needed to about the hardware.
Yeah. And you got one
the
for
mouse
your
support
wife
being
too,
a thing.
right? That's right, mouse support.
I had an adventure, because if you recall, I couldn't. Pre-orders in Canada were a disaster. If you want me to story time for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't announce like, oh, we're doing it at midnight, or we're doing it here, or we're doing it here. The only people that announced what time pre-orders were going live was Best Buy, and their site was dead, and I had an appointment. So like I tried. I'm like, well, I have to go. So I ended up buying one online at Walmart.ca, and not realizing that I had bought it from a third-party seller somehow that was just listed through Walmart. It wasn't by Nintendo. And I was paying $200 more, and it was arriving June 19th.
Ah,
But I was like, well, it's the only one that I can get, and going into this, we didn't know what supplies would be like, so I was like, whatever. My wife realized that I was overspending by $200 on it, and so I canceled it. And when I woke up in the morning, bless EB Games Canada, which is notably disconnected from Ryan Cohen now.
no
Thank
longer a GameStop subsidiary. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Canada.
thank you. And it actually says proudly Canadian owned and operated on the doors when you walk into
that's
all of them
awesome.
now. So I went to 2 different EB Games Canada. I went to one, and I was like, there's boxes of Switch 2s. Like, it just wasn't. And they did the midnight release, and they were like, we had loads of people here. So they just received it. They were like, we got a ton of inventory. Like, I think Nintendo really stocked the inventory, because it wasn't that people weren't buying it. It's that they didn't matter. They had enough. I tried to talk them into letting me buy 2. They were not. Canadian integrity said no. So I got in the car and I drove across the city to the next one, EB Games Canada, different outlet, and picked one up there. That they were out of Pro Controllers, oddly enough. And then once I had paid and gotten into my hands, I let the clerk know that was my second one, and he was not too pleased with me, because apparently that's a company-wide policy, not a store-by-store policy. So, but I'd already paid and I had it in my hands, and he did not look like he wanted to physically fight me for it, so I got to keep the second one.
I'm sitting on 3 right now. I have one that I'm using that I got from Nintendo. And then I have 2. I bought one at I bought one at Walmart online, which they delivered with Pringles and a Coke. David, do you want the Pringles and the Coke? Do you drink Coke?
I drink Coke Zero.
It's not a Coke Zero. It's like high fructose corn syrup out the ass.
No, I'm good.
I'm gonna just pour it down the drain then, because I don't like. I've had a Coke in like 18 years, so I'm like, I'm good. But yeah, it was just a weird feeling. Like, they dropped off my Switch on the side door, which is just weird. And I look at the bag and there's a fucking can of Pringles. Anyway, but yeah, that was Bill talking about Switch and his experience. Yeah, Denny, you mentioned mouse control. I haven't really been using it because I haven't played an FPS with it yet. And I don't know if Splatoon has support for it. I think it should. But yeah, I know you can use it on the OS. I haven't done that either. David, the Welcome Tour features mouse gameplay quite a bit. What are your thoughts on the mouse? Have you tried it on multiple surfaces or use cases, like on your pants leg or whatever?
So I have one of those desks that can attach to a recliner. I tried it on that. I tried it on the arm of my recliner. I tried it on my leg. It worked well on all of them, and on my shorts.
Yeah,
and it worked pretty well on all of them.
Yeah,
I really like it. I'm very interested to play like a full AAA or indie game. Yeah, just an FPS in general with the mouse, because I think it works really well so far.
My understanding is Cyberpunk supports it, so that would be one that we could maybe test out.
Oh, okay.
I bought Cyberpunk the cartridge. I'm gonna just keep it in the plastic. I just think it's cool that they shipped a 64 gig version of their game on a cartridge, while so many other companies are going with the game key cards. I like that CD Projekt was like, no, this is a cool thing we can do with this game, and it's like the definitive package of the game with all the DLC and stuff. So I guess Cyberpunk would be one of those big launch titles you could try it with. The other one would be Civ 7. They have a Switch 2 edition. That's the obvious one for me. I would like to see more RTS games get ported to Switch 2 as a result of this. Like StarCraft 64.
Yeah,
maybe some of the CNC games. Like, you could go retro with this.
You really could.
You could bring that do CNC collection. You know, the one.
Yeah, they could do that. Blizzard could release like a StarCraft collection. That'd be cool.
Warcraft.
Yeah.
They could release their Warcraft ports that they've done in recent years. I would like, hell, Hearthstone. Why did Hearthstone never come out on Switch? I don't know, but now would be a good time, because now you have like Snap. Snap would be another one that would be great with the mouse on Switch. Like, card games, what are you doing, folks? Like, somebody release a card game for this thing. Balatro, if it had mouse support. I don't know if it does. God, I can't open that.
I mean,
game.
it's on PC, so like, it's in there somewhere, and I don't know how hard it would, because like, I guess it would depend on how the game was designed if mouse inputs were even considered for consoles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the whole question. Like, how is this stuff implemented? What kind of API is there for it? How easy can it be implemented? But yeah, like, I would love to see more games support mouse. But I think this is the most accessible Nintendo hardware device ever made. Like, they finally are listening to their fans, saying, hey, like, give us some of these features. Like, something as simple as their new button mapping feature, David, like, I think that's huge. Like, because people are going to have whatever input device they're going to use for accessibility purposes. Being able to change the button mapping to whatever is super important for that. So, like, I think that's cool.
For sure.
Keyboard support's important, and yeah, mouse is cool for sure.
We have a guide for it, but like, image and clip sharing on Nintendo Switch 2,
yes,
easier than it's ever been, by far.
Once again,
it's like,
it's just like, oh, they should have done that years ago. Like, there's gonna be that refrain. As all I'm saying is, like, you're gonna hear that refrain, but it doesn't take away from the fact that that's super useful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, it took them forever. Yes, it took them forever to make the Mario movie, but it was delightful. Yes, it took them forever to finally make a Switch app that is useful, as opposed to whatever the hell the Switch Online app was before. Remember that whole voice chat thing that it was? Like, remember that, David? Remember how you never used it? But like, they made the Switch app good, TJ. Like, it's actually useful.
Mm-hmm.
And they got rid of the Dance of 1,000 QR codes that I've been doing for the past few years whenever I have to get a screenshot off my damn Switch. Because, like, you know, they made it hard, the social platforms, by charging for API access, like X and Facebook and Reddit. Like, it's hard to post from devices like PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. So Nintendo just being like, screw it, here's your feed of all the stuff that you want to share. And yeah, you can do it in huge batches of files now, TJ. Like, it's just so
you
much
can
better.
close windows and let them upload in the background while you go and do other stuff, which is like so small, but so very nice.
Yeah. It's, once again, it's about time, but boy, is it a lovely feature. And I think,
you know, speaking of files, like, you know, even just like, it wasn't crazy for me to be able to actually transfer my Switch 1 stuff over.
it was smooth.
The Switch 2, it was pretty seamless for the most part.
I know, David, you had some anxiety about your island, so I went in first. I was like, look, I'm going to transfer. I will let you know if my island makes it. It did. And you didn't need to use the island transfer tool to do it. So that to me was a huge deal. Yeah, it's Nintendo got a lot of the online part right. And that was the biggest risk, in my opinion, going into this, was that they were going to do something dumb with their online experience. And so far, so good, man. Like, it didn't take too long to do that transfer. They're doing stuff with, like, the game sharing again. Like, so much of this feels like a lot of the things that Iwata laid out at GDC ahead of the DS launch, David. Like, a lot of the mission of the Nintendo DS, it seems to be reappearing here with the Switch 2. And it, like, took a couple of generations off. But it's, like, here now. The whole play together idea. You know, has anyone here used Game Chat yet?
No, I want to, though. I got the camera, but I haven't really had anyone like up for trying it with me.
I'll do it. We should probably capture it when we do it, like, just to show people what it's like.
Yeah.
I used it over the weekend with my friends in Japan, and I can tell you a couple things. They really enjoyed being able to see what I was doing. I was able to show them. Like, I taught a 4-year-old how to grind and how to jump in the game using Game Chat. I'm like, watch me. I'm holding down this button. I let it go here. And she didn't even know where the R button was at the beginning of the session. but by the end she's wall riding and stuff. Like, so I think like helping friends, it's huge. When I first saw it, when you're watching the direct and you see them unveil it and you see the frame rate of the little boxes at the bottom, you're like, ew. In practice, when I'm playing with you, I'm not looking at the little boxes. I'm looking at my screen, right?
Right.
And my screen's still going 60 FPS. So it's not, in my opinion, it's not this like horrible experience. But it was fun because I would look down, because if you've ever played any game with any kid, they're just going to do whatever the hell they want. So like the mini game was just us trying to track down my friend's daughter throughout the open world, and I was having to fast travel to her or whatever. But yeah, playing open world with friends online, very cool. We did have an emergent gameplay moment where she found a reverse waterfall jump at the question mark block track, and you can just you take the vertical move up on, it's like a ramp or whatever, but instead of landing on the track where you start the race, you veer left and you free fall, David, and you can probably do like 100 tricks as you fall to the ground. And I'm just like, this is like brand new emergent gameplay pulled out of thin air by a 4-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, this is a good video game. Like I think a lot of people are looking at, oh, there's only X amount of tracks. There's only this many P switches. There's only this many medallions. It's like, do you not realize that people played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for 10 years? Like, this is a game this is a decade game. This is a game that's going to be played for 5 to 10 years. And I'm already finding, emergent gameplay experiences, which is, I think, the hallmark of a good open world game. It's like, sure, a lot of P switches are nice. The shrines are nice. But, like, what can I do when I'm not in, like, a mode? Like, can I just make a fun experience for myself? And the answer is yes. Also, it's like the greatest thing for labbing tech in different tracks or whatever. Like, you don't have to go in a Grand Prix. You don't have to play online in a race. You can do time trials, or you can just drive to Bowser's Castle and just start driving on it. I think the optionality there is super cool. Yeah, I like free roam more than most other modes. David, I know you were smitten by Knockout Tour. Are you still a fan of Knockout Tour?
Yeah, I really liked it because I haven't played a lot of games like that. I haven't played one probably since F-Zero 99. Just, it brought that concept to racing games. And I really, really like it just because it's this high intensity mode. Like, it's been a while since I've had like a white knuckled grip playing a Mario Kart game. There are those close races that happen occasionally, but in Knockout Tour, every race is that for me.
Yeah.
And it's just a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's fine.
I know why you say that.
It's frustrating, man. And it's not a critique of the game. It's how the game's always been, right? It's frustrating when you race a race extremely well and you get hit by 4 blue shells in the last lap and you finish 15th overall. It's frustrating, is all I'll say. Like,
I wonder what we should try
chaos
playing.
At times.
It's an arcade racer, right? But like, we should try playing that mode with I think you can turn items down. It's either normal or frantic. I don't know if you can do anything besides that.
That's it. Those are the only two options.
One thing I miss about Deluxe, in one of the updates, they let you choose like item by item if you wanted it in a race. I missed that. I wish they'd bring that back.
I wish the options were more robust. Like,
yeah,
I can't even change the audio settings. Like, I want to lower in-game settings and turn up the music because holy crap, is the music outstanding.
Yeah.
But like, I want to hear it louder, and there's no setting for that. That's weird. Like, there's not enough settings, in my opinion. I would like more options for setting up that, a private game with my friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I heard about that too, and stuff like that.
I'll play Knockout Tour again. It's just, it's fine. It's fine.
Coming from F-Zero, I can see how it would be frustrating for sure.
Yeah, it's just
Because that's totally skill based, whereas Mario Kart often is just sheer luck of the draw.
It's still a party game to a certain
yeah,
extent. And
yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
we've
like,
Yeah.
got 24 players potentially now as well, so that is also just
and I'm never gonna be the guy. Oh, I want to play Mario Kart with no items. No, I want to play Mario Kart with items. I'm not gonna like. This is not a racing game by itself. All this means is that Nintendo should make racing games. Like,
Well, here's the thing, though. I want to say this. I think that this takes a lot more skill than Mario Kart 8, which I thought took a lot more skill than like Mario Kart Wii. I actually feel the mechanics are pretty deep. It's not
I
F
agree.
Zero, but for a Mario Kart game, this is another level here, and
Oh,
that's why I missed
no doubt.
Ghost Mode. Ghost
Yeah.
Mode was just here's 3 mushrooms and the course and your skill. I really missed that. I
This-
wish they'd bring that.
You
Yeah,
have time
yeah, that would be
trials.
nice.
You have time.
Oh, they do have
trials.
time trials?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
it's under single player, but they have time trials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah,
Cool.
I recommend it because that's great for labbing too. I agree with what you just said though, David. The gameplay features, like grinding, going fast, barrel rolls, all those things are
Even drifting is different.
yeah.
Even drifting
Yeah.
is a little different.
It's and like so we've talked about this a little bit before, but like
hmm
the neutral jump is kind of the big new mechanic that accesses a lot of the other new stuff, like the grinding. That's the stuff that I'm going to be watching like closely as it develops, because I feel like the neutral jump is the neutral jump boost that lets you get onto the rails is going to be the key to like really finding some ridiculous shortcuts in this game, which I've already seen people starting to use it to, and the grinding in some of these tracks to just do insane things. I'm so excited to see like what high level and like speedrun play of this looks like.
I'm already seeing it on F-Zero Twitter because a lot of F-Zero 99 players have moved over to Kart for now, and they're showing clips of their glitches. Basically, like there is some wild shit going on with the combo of wall rides, grinds, barrel rolls. Yeah, you can wall jump in certain areas. Yeah, it's. I feel like I have only touched maybe 10% of what I am capable of doing in this game in the first week. And that's how I know.
the true potential.
Yeah.
Not a full Jedi Master in cart yet.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like you pick it up and play it kind of game, but it's like Rocket League where there's like 10,000 hours till you master it or whatever. I love that about it. And I think you're right, David. It is the most difficult Mario Kart game ever made. No doubt. The tracks are some of the most difficult tracks. They're also masterfully designed. And there's this balance in this game of reverence for the past, but an effort to make everything new. But they do it perfectly. Like, that's a very hard thing to balance. But, like, the first time you play Moo Moo Meadows or you, like, see Choco Mountain, you're like, oh, that's kind of different, but I like it. It's never like, that's kind of different, but I hate it, you know? It's always like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this. And then I keep coming back to it, but the music's outstanding. Like, this is the best
Yeah, it's
music.
got great music.
Yeah, best music
The
in it.
Discovery Factor too.
Oh, dude, the theme for the Bowser pirate ship being like the remix of the old school pirate levels from like Mario 3 and
Mario
stuff.
3.
I love it. I love it.
There's a ton,
So good.
a ton of Mario 3 love, a ton of Super Mario World love.
A lot of Mario 2 love.
There's Mario 2. There's decent Mario 64 love in this game. And then there's just reverence for all of the kart games throughout history.
Yeah.
And it's like, just, we have to talk about it because it's the internet. And it's like, is this worth $80? The soundtrack is like the one thing I point to. I'm like, I don't think these soundtracks exist in many games. You don't get stuff like this very often. It's going to be up to whoever buys the game if it's worth $80. I don't think any of us paid $80. I think it was $50.
No. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like this conversation is worth having for other games that are going to launch at 80.
Yeah.
But for Mario Kart, unless you can't find a Mario Kart bundle, in which case you're paying 50 instead of 80, like you said,
Yeah.
you probably don't need to pay $80 for this game. And the Mario Kart bundles, I had Bill's experience where our GameStop had a plentiful amount of Switch 2s, and not
Yeah.
for pre-orders either.
I watched this interview. Doug Bowser was on CBS This Morning last week, and he was talking about the availability of consoles. And he said that basically Nintendo gives each store a certain amount of allocation, and then the stores themselves divide it between what they're going to have for online pre-orders versus in-store day of. So it wasn't like they had some influx of shipments. That wasn't the case. They had their allocation in April, and they decided to act. This is how much we're going to have here. This is how much we're going to have there. From what I heard, the problem with the GameStop midnight launch was that they let the people who pre-ordered that day go ahead of the people who pre-ordered online. I don't know if that was the case at your location, David, but like other people were pissed about that.
My midnight release, it wasn't necessarily that wasn't a thing.
Okay.
There, I did like prepay for the rest of mine.
Yeah.
Earlier that day, and they did let us ahead for on that end. They had separate lines set up for picking up and stuff like that.
I think it's certain GameStop locations only have like one or two people working in them, so they probably couldn't handle two lines. But yeah, the Best Buy in Canton, they had two lines, and they were both wrapping around the block. It's sold out everywhere in America now, so you can't find it. But yeah, Doug said that they hope to have supply demand balance through the summer. We'll see what that means. But we do know back in April, Furukawa-san tweeted out that what was it, like 3 million people entered the Japanese lottery for the Switch pre-order, and they they couldn't fulfill all of those orders. So like we're gonna ramp up production. So I think they did do that, and my understanding is that they're ramping production in Vietnam and Cambodia for the purposes of American Switches. So it could be a situation where they're selling Chinese Switches in Japan and Vietnamese Switches in America, and they're able to ramp both simultaneously. At the time of this recording, we're recording this, was it 6 o'clock in the evening on Monday, June 9th. Yeah. Nintendo has not announced sales for this past weekend. Maybe they're waiting for the first full week of sales. I don't know what. It would be really interesting to be a fly on the wall right now with Nintendo PR and the execs talking about what number do they want to tout, or do they want to run the high score up before they say this, or are they going to wait till earnings? You know, like there's probably a debate right now going on, like, what is the story here? Are we going to say we're the fastest selling? Are we the best selling? Are we the best selling ever? Are we the best selling ever in Japan? Like there's all these different storylines that could be playing out here. But it seems undeniable. It's selling very well. Atul Goyal, who's a analyst at Jefferies, upgraded his price target for Nintendo's stock today solely on the performance of the Switch 2 over the past few days. So he says there's 65% upside to the stock right now, which that's a lot of coins. It's a lot of Mario coins right there. A lot of Peach medallions. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. But I'm expecting some random press release at 2 a.m. from Japan to be like, we sold X amount of Switches. And it's going to be funny because they're going to end up selling more Switch 2 units in a week than there's been Steam Deck sales since it launched. Just speaking to the scope of this brand right now. Like, it's not... Nintendo's not the little guy anymore. They were. Now they're not. We'll see if they can stay on top, because usually this is where the king falls, right? This is usually where you get a PS3 moment, or a Xbox One moment, or a Wii U moment. And I think they have Wii U PTSD at Nintendo. Like, I really do. And I think they did their best to prevent a Wii U situation, which is why 2 was the right thing to call it, even though Super Nintendo Switch would have sounded so much cooler. I think Switch 2 was the right move.
The
I think
Switch 2 is clean.
it's clean, and it leaves the door open for Switch 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, forever.
So I was telling Amy, like for the rest of our lifetime, we're going to be buying Switch X.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they called it a Nintendo Switch 2 over a Switch OLED. If they made a boosted version.
That's what they should do.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, instead of Switch 2 OLED edition, it should be Super Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah.
Because then they could just bring back, because the Super branding is back. It's Super Nintendo World. It was the Super Mario Bros. Movie, right? Like, you could release Super F-Zero. Just saying. All I'm saying is that Mario Kart World is such a good engine. Give us more fucking racing games. Like,
yeah.
I know you're going to focus on this one, Nintendo, but like, you've proven people like racing games on your platform. This is the best performing hardware you've ever shipped. F-Zero is a futuristic racer that really pushed graphics, David, right? Like, F-Zero on SNES, pushing Mode 7 forward. N64, 60 frames per second, 4-player split screen. Like, that was crazy in 98.
Yep.
And the GX, one of the best graphics on the GX was F-Zero GX. So, like, on the GameCube. So, yeah, like, I think now more than ever, we need an F-Zero game. Not this year, but just announce it. Just announce it. F-Zero Twitter would be happy. They're still alive and well. Any other third-party titles we want to hit on? Or other games that we've tried?
I was mentioning I think you were there, Asif, but I was telling TJ and Denny that I played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which now runs at a steady 30 frames per second. And when 30 FPS is steady, I can handle it.
Yeah.
And I'm having a lot of fun with that game, whereas I thought the performance on Switch 1 was so poor, I just could not get into it.
It was one that I passed on entirely because of the performance, but I am interested in it. I'm also interested in this next one because I get to play as Raru, and I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Age of Calamity a lot. It was a very interesting alternate timeline story to me. And the idea that, like, and you're right, the thing that held that game back a lot is that it was Koei Tecmo trying to do, like, large scale, Warrior style games on the Switch 1, and just trying to pack that much into there just made it a bit of a slog. But there was a gem of a story in there, and now that it's able to play better, like, I want to go back there too and see that, because I love that game.
Mm-hmm. I'm just interested in the Imprisoning War. Was the original Hyrule Warriors a Wii U game?
Yes.
It was, yes.
I played that one, and then I kind of skipped the Switch generation, because they brought that over as a deluxe, and then they did another one with Age of Calamity. I kind of just passed on those. But this one coming out, I think it's December or November, I'm interested. Do we think there's another game coming out this year? Like, do you think there's another first-party Nintendo game that we don't know about right now? Or do you think this is their lineup?
No.
You think this is it?
I think it'll be Kart and Donkey Kong for the summer, and then Metroid for the holidays.
And there's Pokemon ZA, and there's Hyrule Warriors. Yeah. So, like, there's some other smaller stuff.
Yeah, I think they might be leaning heavy on the third party and just like support for the stuff that's already out there.
They're getting Elden Ring. They're getting there's enough third parties coming, and I think they're really leaning in on the Switch 2 edition stuff. So, like, maybe we don't get a proper first party title, but we get, like, more Switch 2 edition things announced.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That there's going to be more of that kind of route taken, where it's just Switch 2 action for previous games.
Also, the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online drip drop, it's begun. So it's like, what next?
Yeah.
Super Monkey Ball? Super Monkey Ball 2, please? For the love of God.
And they did talk about the gyro control on the Joy-Cons and stuff. So
if we get Super Monkey Ball 2, I want a staff-wide monkey golf tournament. That's what I want.
I want
the Monkey Ball Pro Tour. Okay.
I want Monkey Target, man. What are you talking
about?
and bowling.
Now that we're talking about like
The monkey ball Olympics, the monkey ball Shack Staff Olympics, done.
Yeah.
If that happens, that's happening. And even if it doesn't
Yes.
happen, if I ever get you guys in the same room again, we're doing that anyway, because that's a great idea.
speaking of like Nintendo, speaking of sports like golf, I need a fresh drip of Nintendo sports games on the Nintendo Switch 2 with all these graphical upgrades because I want to see what a Mario golf course looks like on the Switch 2.
And that last Mario Golf game was not great.
Yeah.
What Mario? You know what I want? I want a baseball Mario game again. Cause like that GameCube one was actually good. Was it Mario Super Sluggers? I enjoyed that one. And yeah, I think that would be interesting. Other sports.
Oh, I
Tennis,
really
Aces
liked
was
Mario
good.
I love
3-on-3 basketball for DS. That was really fun.
The memes.
You remember that?
The memes are so good, man. Like Luigi crossing someone up and dunking on him. Like it's just.
I loved that game though.
That game felt like a fever dream. I was like, this is. That was a different, unhinged Nintendo. Yes, bring back that Nintendo. Bring back that Camelot games, please. Yeah, Mario 3v3 basketball. There's a rumor that they were making a volleyball game at one point, like a beach volleyball Mario game. That would be cool. I agree that, instead of tennis, do Mario pickleball. Capitalize on that very bougie trend. What else could there be? I like the idea of more sports games though.
Yeah. I love Mario sports in general, but just like golf has always had a special place in my heart on Nintendo platforms. And I would love, like, man, the draw distances. I would be excited to see like what the distance you could see on a golf course in a Mario golf game on Switch 2 would look like.
So this isn't necessarily a Mario sports game, but Mario is featured in it. Punch-Out.
Punch-Out.
Yes.
Is it time? Is it time for another Punch-Out? And is it time for Mike Tyson to return?
Yes and no.
That's a whole lot wrapped in there.
Yes and no is probably the right answer. But I think now's a great time. Great time for a Punch-Out game would be this moment. I like not as much like you want to see some sports titles. I would too, but I want to see these like second, third tier Nintendo games get some showtime. Like, I want to see a new Kid Icarus, which we're definitely not getting because Sakurai's working on he's working on Kirby Air Riders, which how did that one? How's that the racing game that is not kart? Like were they just like throwing darts at like a wall and they landed on Kirby Air Riders? Like that's
I feel like that's a thing where like
thank you.
I see your Kirby shirt looking good.
I feel like that's a thing where like after everything that Smash Ultimate accomplished, I feel like Nintendo is like, what do you want to do, Mr. Sakurai? and he tells them, and they're like, okay.
I think it's more like
that's what I thought as well.
I think he saw the engine of Mario Kart World and was like, oh, I could do something with that. Like, I think it is like whatever they got there is special. Like, there's something good in Mario Kart World that could be used in other games. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not.
Get a Diddy Kong racing going again.
But I want to see Kid Icarus. I want to see an Ice Climbers. I want a new Ice Climbers, David. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
That game's not bad. Like,
give me some Ice Climbers on like a Shadow of the Colossus level.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't had like a scope of like a bigger budget animal, like a bigger budget Ice Climbers would be interesting to me. I want a game like Dr. Mario. I want like more of these like smaller, less high budget games, right? I also think they should crack open the DS vault and start porting those DS games over, because I think the advent of the mouse has opened the door to touch input games being on the Switch. Because that was the biggest problem, is there was no way to mimic a finger touching a screen. Well, I can't think of a better way to mimic a stylus than a mouse. It's like the perfect thing. So that means PictoChat, that means
Brain age.
Brain Age, that means Flash Focus, that means all of those games, right, can come over there. That also means Mario Maker could be updated to include some sort of mouse support. You know, I heard something funny about Mario Maker. People make those levels, right, with the lag of the Switch in mind, because we weren't thinking about future-proofing it for a better frame rate. So now the timing of people's jumps in their levels are being affected. Yeah. I was like, that's interesting. Because now it's like people who upload levels can't even beat their own level because it's not lagging anymore.
I actually heard that clown cars are not compatible with Switch 2. So if you had a level with a clown car, you have to remake it. I heard that just today on Nintendo Today for me.
That's not happening. That's not happening. I will not remake Briefcase Level 8. You have to get good at the worst mechanic in the game. I know. And I know there's no checkpoints. I know that
at least you know.
And there's no checkpoints. I know.
I'm waiting on
put a checkpoint on my next level.
I'm pretty sure it's in there, so I'm waiting on that clown car unlock on Mario Kart World.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah, I am waiting for that as well. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting though, like the balance of games I already had versus new games. Like it's definitely I'm playing both on the system. The thing I'm like desperately waiting for is for Tetris Effect to update. Cuz Tetris Effect on Switch competent, runs well, but it is not as visually appealing as any other version of it. Like it is a lesser version, just visually, not gameplay wise, not audio wise. But man, give me a better looking Tetris Effect. Like
I'd like to see the return of some Star Fox action. Like you got the actual hardware now.
Yeah, and that's another game like F-Zero, Denny, where it's always been used to like show off the technology, right? And if this is that moment where we're getting 4K, like just recreate Star Fox 64. Here it is, Star Fox 64K. Put K at the end. People will be confused thinking it's 64K, but like 4K Star Fox. Just recreate the game.
Yeah, just give me the good stuff.
Like Imamura, when I interviewed him, I was like, "Is the problem with Star Fox 64 is that it's a perfect game?" And he's like, "Yes, that is the problem. They made a perfect video game. You can't do better. It's like RE4, David. Yes, you can remake it, but you're not gonna outdo the magic of RE4 on the GameCube when that thing came out. That was a holy shit moment. And I think that I think Switch 2, I don't know if it has that holy shit moment yet. Like I think there's parts of it in Mario Kart World where you see the scope of the levels, but like I haven't had that like oh my god moment there. I guess for me it was in Tears of the Kingdom when I played it at the Switch 2 event in April, when I just saw I like dove off of the first Sky Island all the way to the ground, and then I pulled up Ultra Hand and I saw that there was no lag. I was like, okay, this is cool. But like I already had 250 hours in that game. So it's not like I'm falling over myself to play Tears like some other people are on Switch 2.
You might have that moment when you play Rainbow Road in Kart World. I'm hoping that it's very impressive.
I should have that by the end of the day. But yeah, like it's not that I'm not excited by it, but like I could see how some people it's just not resonating with them because they're not kart players or like they're not Nintendo fans.
That's exactly my girl is now. Like she's seen me playing and stuff like that, but she's not as interested in kart. But at the same time, like she's like, oh, I see that Donkey Kong's coming out and some of the other stuff, but it's not out yet. So
yeah, I think Donkey Kong is gonna be this moment where I'm like, yes, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. And I still maintain it, like having played kart for a while now, The thing that I've played this year on Switch 2 that blew my mind, that I was like, I need this, is Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I just haven't been I haven't been able to make a definitive statement on any of this shit because we didn't have a review access to anything. But like, also it was a preview. I played a 25-minute demo in April on Donkey Kong, and there's a preview video, you can check out my impressions there. But like, destructible environments mixed with the Donkey Kong style 3D collectathon, yeah, that could be really fun. And the memes, Denny, the memes for Donkey Kong are gonna be insane. His face is so expressive in the game. Yeah. How have we gone this long without talking about Cal? Cal's great.
Cal is great.
I just realized I haven't talked about Cal yet. I'm a Cal main. There's actually someone who replied to our video from April 2nd, that the day of the direct when I was in New York. They declared that I was the first Cal main. So I maintain that I was the first Cal main in the history of the world.
On a shirt now, folks, so prepare yourselves.
I was the first Cal main. But I do have to say, I got a Pocket DK that's pretty good too. I really do like Donkey Kong in this game, mainly because he's out here dabbing almost every other second while you're racing as him. So it's kind of just, the memes are ridiculous with him. I'm trying to unlock Dolphin. I also like Dolphin. I think those are going to be my 3. I tried to race his... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I saw Bowser in a leather jacket. I'm like, TJ's got to main that guy. That Bowser.
Biker Bowser. Yeah. I saw Biker Bowser too.
Biker Bowser has a nice ring to it, I guess.
I do like Bowser's costumes, and I've been enjoying playing him. But there was an unlock that like caught my attention and threw a quote unquote wrench into my plans. Rocky Wrench, the mole character from the Bowser pirate ships that pops out of the ground with a manhole on his head and throws wrenches at you. He's adorable in this game. And I've been playing around on Rocky Wrench and driving around with him for a while. I still go back to Bowser, but like it's fun how many ridiculously obscure characters are in this game.
Snowman, I always forget his name. There's like a random ghost. Peepa is in it.
Oh. King Boo
My spouse.
Or someone else?
No, there's Peepa is like the name of a ghost from a different Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's the one that has the big goofy face with like the negative white circle eyes and the big goofy mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Peepa is a white ghost with stubby arms from Super Mario 3D Land. Also appeared in some of the Mario Party games. But yeah, like there's like multiple ghost options. I unlocked the Rob motorcycle. It's called the R.O.B H.O.G. I love that. The Rob Hog. It's literally the Famicom Rob.
I have that one.
I love that. So my ideal combo, David, is I'm Cal riding Rob, the Rob Hog. But yeah, like I do think I'm gonna be playing Donkey Kong quite a bit, and when I unlock Dolphin, I'll be playing Dolphin too. But I have the Dolphin motorcycle. And
Sam, my spouse has been riding. My spouse has been running N64 Penguin on the Dolphin motorcycle.
The Penguin, hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that the Penguin's in the game. But yeah, I just wanted to just go on the record that I was a Cal main before all these other people became Cal mains, and it's fine. I'm just a trendsetter. But like, I don't know if you saw it. Like, I saw like Kotaku or someone was writing a story like people are overrunning the game with Cal mains. I'm like, good. We should.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Wow. Now, so you guys have the Cal Emperor here.
Yeah.
All right. Now that he's stating it,
I approve. You can all be Cal mains. Just recognize the greatness. I am the tribal chief of the Cal mains.
Yes, just come by the stream. We'll play the Bloodline music with some moves in it. All right.
We just solidified my entrance music. So the algorithm figured, this is completely tangential, but the algorithm on YouTube found out that I'm watching wrestling. It's been giving me like orchestral versions of entrance music. So like,
wow,
I heard this orchestral version of John Cena his entrance music. I'm like, God damn, that's actually really good. And then they hit me with Cody Rhodes. I was like, oh wow. And then it was Roman Reigns orchestral. I was like, wow.
Trying to egg you on for clearly you're the Kyle Dynasty there. Ready to get it rolling.
They're like, yeah, we need you to figure out. Yeah, they even have a Randy Orton one. I was like, God damn, that YouTube playlist, the Autogen mix playlist last night was slapping hard. But yeah, like I do have entrance music now. But yeah, I just want to state on the record, first cow main ever. Respect my authority. But yeah, it's great. I need to get better at grinding, man. That's the thing. Like, I know I'm not even close to where I can be in this game, and it comes down to
I don't know how to do it or to wall ride. Like I can grind if I get onto a line or a rail or something. It just happens. But I don't know how to do it otherwise.
You have to hold down the right shoulder button without turning. So you're going on a straight line and you charge your right shoulder. There will be a little orb that appears at the bottom of your vehicle. When it appears, you can now jump. You can do a forward front flip. You can do a back flip. You can do a barrel roll left or a barrel roll right. So if you're up against the wall that you want to wall ride, you barrel roll onto it, and then your tires your tires hit. And if you're going fast enough, usually you'll ride up the wall, and at the top of the wall there will be something to grind. Much easier said than done. Much easier said than done.
So we just need a cart class with Ossifer. The way you just explained that in under 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean I did it for the how to get the boost at the starting line. But yeah, there's a bunch of, like, look, we know that not everyone's been playing kart their whole lives, but also, like, it's to your point earlier, David, the gameplay kit, like this new toolbox that we have, it's the most complicated it's ever been in the history of the kart franchise. But I do think it's like the skill ceiling's the highest as a result. So it's, I haven't been like, I know I haven't reached my full potential in this game. And I'm watching other speedrunners play it and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to get crazy. Like, it's going to get really crazy. The speed run for this is going to be outstanding whenever that happens. But yeah, it's just fun, man. Fun times. New Nintendo console. We don't get these very often. New Mario Kart. It's been 2 generations.
I know.
And it just celebrated its 11th anniversary, I believe, back in April. Back in May. I think it was May 29th, 2014 was when Mario Kart 8 released, and then 8 Deluxe released in April of 2017. And now here we are in 2025 playing Mario Kart World. Yeah. Exciting times, though. And yeah, we're going to be streaming more Mario Kart now that the summer of Jeff has kind of died down. We should probably have some streams here in the near future. I definitely want to do a game chat test with you, David, at some point. We can whoever else on staff, maybe if we can get like 5 people who have cameras together, we could do something that really shows it off.
I might also take it to the office, because I know I booted it up just to get an idea of what it looked like. And it showed 2 circles for 2 people, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we could probably use that at the office too.
You can do 4 people on 1 camera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. We were trying that with my friends in Japan last night. I was like, okay, or 2 nights ago. It was working. Yeah, it's cool because it like follows you around a little bit. And yeah, it's just when you're playing free roam with friends and you pull up the map, their little pin is actually their face.
Oh.
So like when I was trying to tell my friend's daughter, like, hey, fast travel to me. She's like, where are you? I'm like, look for my face on the map. She was like, okay. She clicked on my face, was able to fast travel to me. So it's like, it's these little things that I'm seeing. It's those little Nintendo details, that attention to detail that they have that other studios, other developers don't, that are really adding up to this whole thing being a lovely experience. Going back to the system transfer, that song, it was so good. Yeah. We're never going to hear it again. but it was so good. And that's what I'm talking about. Nintendo's like, here's this one-time song for your first, like, your hype, right? Because you're transferring your data over. You're all excited. And they give you this perfect song that fits that vibe. It's shit like that that makes me love this company. And I think it's why people love their products. But yeah, I really do feel like Nintendo is like, this is a device. This is not a toy. Like, it feels like there's a shift in their attitude, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to be
Definitely
shoving these
got a
Joy-Con.
sneakiness to it.
These Joy-Con are not going into a cardboard box. You know what I mean?
No.
That's not happening this generation. God,
Yeah,
can you
things
imagine if
definitely
I'm
feel
wrong?
sleeker in general. Like, and the same with the color changes and stuff too.
Yeah. Like, it's, I think it looks clean in all black. And, like, yeah, obviously the accent colors. That's going to be interesting when they release new Joy-Con and the inside is still orange and blue, like how people will handle that. But, yeah, this is just the first version. We're going to get a Zelda one or a Mario one.
Yeah.
People will buy all of them. I guess before we go, I wish Nintendo made a device that could fit in your pocket. I'm not saying that this needs to be the one. I'm just saying that there's something missing in their ecosystem with this merger of the two, in that there's not an ultra portable Nintendo gaming experience anymore.
Do you think we'll get a Switch Lite equivalent down the road?
No.
As hardware gets smaller, it's possible, right?
I say no because of how poorly Switch Lite sold.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason they went bigger with the screen. Their data told them to, right? Their sales data told them that. So I might be wrong, but the Switch Lite was not that small. It was like, yeah, you could fit it in some cargo shorts, but like it wasn't pocketable. I'm talking like iPhone size.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying, like, you know what? Maybe it's not even a Switch 2. Maybe it's a Switch 1 that's just ultra miniaturized, to your point, David. Like, all those parts are cheaper now. Maybe you could fit it in kind of a smaller form factor. But if they came out with, like, a Switch Micro right now, or, like...
Right.
Because the complaint right now is how expensive this thing is. The $450 price for the console, or $500 for the bundle. I think what Nintendo's missing is the 2DS. That low end of their line. They don't have one right now. And it's like, if you have more of those Switch 1 chips lying around, you could probably make a decent amount of money if you came out with like $100 ultra portable Switch. Like, I would buy one instantly. And
I think they'd have to also like set up for like a line of their games that their marketing is playable in it. Because if Mario Kart World isn't, and then
it wouldn't be.
Have to shift that.
It would.
It
would only be Gen 1 Switch games, right? So, and maybe not all of them.
Yeah, like you'd have to make that clear to the market.
And honestly, this should have happened last year, because that was like the 2DS came out the year before they announced the Switch, right? So it's like it is kind of late for them to be doing this. But I also think about like the pace at which Nintendo hardware is adopted in places like Brazil. Like, there's still a market for the Switch, and it's an ultra affordable market, right? Like $100, I think, is the price point that they would have to hit, and they're just not in the mood for that. They're in the mood for selling $450 products that are sleek and have high margins. So I get what they're doing, but like, just from a consumer perspective, I understand, like, $450 is a lot of money for any kind of device. I think people pay more for their phones most of the time. But, yeah, I would like to see Nintendo try to make some kind of ultra portable device. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Switch 2. Like, Switch 2 could be the high-end experience, but you could have this low-end experience. So it's like, hey, you can play a lot of your Switch games on this thing. But like I said, it probably would have been a last year thing. And with all the tariff shit going on right now, I doubt they want to spin up another hardware line. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. What other third-party software is going to be announced? Because like, we're post Summer of Jeff, we're post the Xbox announced, we're post the PlayStation State of Play. Not a whole lot was announced for Switch 2 at any of those events. But maybe Nintendo will have a direct here soon where we like. Here's a game that I'm waiting to hear about: Baldur's Gate 3. That should come.
Thinking about that in Diablo, like with the mouse support and stuff like that too.
And they already have Diablo 3 on Switch 2 and Diablo 2, right, David? So like, they could just update those with mouse support. Those are obvious. Like those. It'd be kind of interesting to see if Hades got mouse support. But yeah, like right now, I think the one that they have at launch, like it's not even an RTS really, but Civ is like the mouse game that is third party right now. You know, we forgot Drag X Drive is coming out this year. Sorry, we completely forgot that game exists. Look. It's interesting. We'll see what happens. I struggle to move both mice at the same speed. That was what I was struggling with. But we'll see what happens there. That comes out this summer, right? I think. Yeah. But yeah, give us a Metroid release date.
Yeah, we need that.
I need a Metroid release date. That's what I need from Nintendo right now. I need to know, when am I playing Metroid? And how can I fit Doom the Dark Ages in between my Mario Kart World time? But yeah, this video is not a review. These are just our thoughts. This is, Bill, TJ, Denny, David, and my opinions of our less than a week with the thing. I think we're going to keep doing these conversations with different people over different times and as we get access to more games and stuff. But, I'm going to take my time with my reviews. I'm reviewing the hardware of Switch 2, and I am reviewing Mario Kart World. And I really want to wait until we get a patch for Mario Kart World, because I think they may patch some things in or out that'll make it a better experience. I'm also just kind of curious, are they going to show us a roadmap or anything of what to expect from this? It seems like the kind of game that would lend perfectly to special events, how they do in Splatoon 3, with the different Splatfests. What is the Splatfest equivalent in a Mario Kart World, right? Because they do that in F-Zero 99. There was the Frozen World Tour. There was the festival. What is that going to look like in this? Because this is clearly a live service game. How are they going to handle it with these special events? Because I think that's something that Fortnite has killed it with, and that keeps the game in the conversation and relevant. Animal Crossing did it, I'd say, for about 2 years, David, where there was something happening, either fireworks or a new character shows up. So, what is that going to look like in Kart World? I want to know the answer to these questions before I score it. I really do. Because if Nintendo didn't want our review before the game console was released, fine. I'd rather wait and give you an honest review of it than rush something out the door. So in the interim, we're going to have conversations like this, where we tell you what we're thinking, what we're playing, how we feel about it. But I think from hearing from David that his Animal Crossing island actually runs well, that might be the greatest endorsement of the Switch 2 I've heard yet. Is that Bibliola does not run like ass anymore.
That's right.
Because man, did it run like ass on the first Switch, and so did my island was chugging at times too. So that's frustrating. But even without any fanfare, you're getting that. I have heard echoes of Wisdom. That update is materially better. Was it
Link's Awakening?
Link's Awakening. Sorry. I was it's not a Link to the Past. Link's Awakening also had issues with frame rate drops. So we're seeing good things here. Remember how Shacknews didn't give Breath of the Wild a 10 because of the frame rate in the Lost Woods?
Yeah.
Well, it got fixed.
Yep.
So maybe it's a 10 now. Just saying.
Next to it with the Nintendo Switch 2.
I should just go in and edit it cross off the name, cross off the 9, and just be like 10 masterpiece.
10.
It is. This is a masterpiece of a game. You know what I'm gonna do in that? I'm going to try to beat Trial of the Sword, David. Have you beat Trial of the Sword?
No, I made it pretty far, but it's tough.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
To me, that would be a fun stream. Just watching me. I'm gonna call it Trial of the Shack, and I'll just try to beat Trial of the Sword.
That sounds impressive.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
It's like a roguelite DLC mode, Denny, but if you beat it, your Master Sword never discharges.
Oh.
So I'm like,
Nice.
That's worth it to me. I do want to do the other DLC, the Champion's Ballad, because you get the motorcycle.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I fell off of that. I don't know. It was just kind of puzzles, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That didn't really get me. But yeah, I am interested to keep playing it. This last weekend was tough for us because we were working covering the Summer of Jeff, and that thing is now 5 days long. So what timing? Switch 2 comes out Thursday. Summer of Jeff starts Friday, and I think it's wrapping up today. But yeah, we and the day before we had the Shacknews Indie Showcase, so it was just a very busy, content-packed week at Shacknews last week and this week. But yeah, we're gonna keep making Mario Kart World content. We're gonna keep talking to each other about the Switch 2. Keep an eye out for our game chat video where we show off that feature. But yeah, and also just let us know. Do you have any questions about the Switch 2? Do you have any recommendations for things you want us to try? Or questions, or like, hey, what does this thing in this game look like? Let us know. We have a lot of the games. We can try it out for you. And we're always interested in making content that you're interested in. So yeah, thanks guys for joining me. This was a nice conversation. Yeah, we'll be back with more. I know Ozzy's going to want to chime in. Greg's going to want to talk about how 20 coins don't matter in Mario Kart World.
Donovan's been loving the game too.
I want to hear what Donovan has to say about his handheld gaming experience, because he was playing it he's at his whole flight from Baltimore to LA, and LA to Baltimore he was playing Kart World. So yeah, I want to hear about I haven't really been playing it in handheld very much. Because I honestly don't. The last few years I haven't been doing that as much. When I traveled, I did it all the time. I kind of stopped traveling, so I kind of, at home I have a 80-inch TV I'd rather play it on, and it's 4K, so it's about time. But yeah, exciting times here at Shacknews. And also, yeah, if you have Mario Kart World and you're trying to find P switches or medallions or whatever, check out shackmaps.com. We have a Mario Kart World interactive map there for people to use. We also have great guides on our YouTube channel. We're posting them on social, and they're also on the website. So yeah, all sorts of places to get up to date on Mario Kart World and Nintendo Switch 2. That's going to do it. We'll see you next time, probably pretty soon. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. See you.